I would be doing during this session today is to focus on these are some things that you need to know as regards the Tech Nation visa in 2024. Now, one of the things I need to mention is that this session is actually a part two to a session we did just about a month ago. So, just about a month ago, we started a session where we detailed to say understanding the global talent visa. I hope that some of us on the call were on that session. If you weren't on that session, it's a recorded session. And so you can go back to the recording and you can ask the community managers as well for a link to the recording of that session because it's one of the publicly available recording that we do have. I would just like to ask in the chat to say how many of us were at that session. It was just about 1 month ago where we were talking about understanding the UK Global Talent Visa. If you were on that session, could you please drop a message in the chat? If you are not on that session, also do drop a message in the chat. The reason for that is it will help me in terms of my conversation today and in terms of what I focus on during this short time that they've given me for the session today. Second one is that we would like to understand who you are in terms of what category do you fall from this category that I'm putting up on the screen at the moment. Are you one of the people that you're still not quite sure what the global talent visa is? You're at the category of what is global talent visa, what is it at all? Please put one in the chat. If you are in the category of you are planning to apply sometime soon, meaning that you're already familiar with the visa opportunity, you're looking at applying sometime in the future, please put 2 in the chat. If you are currently preparing your application at the moment, please put 3 in the chat. And then if you've recently been endorsed and then you're just wondering what next, we have a few community members in that category at the moment. We worked with them, they've been endorsed, and they're looking at what next. Please put 4 in the chat. And then if you're moving to the UK at the moment, put 5 in the chat. So those are the categories at the moment that we would just like to know. I see some messages coming in. Thank you for those that have let us know where you are in terms of those options that are put on the table. Regardless of whichever one of those categories that you fall, one of the things I hope that you would be able to take away during this session today is the fact that eMigr8 is available to help. We would love to help, and in fact most of what we do at the eMigr8 platform we actually do at no cost to you. We do for free. And so if you do need help with your Tech Nation visa application at any stage, we do not offer legal advice, we do not offer immigration advice. What we do is that we're able to handhold you, we're able to coach you from our experience. I say our because I'm one of the coaches on the eMigr8 platform, but we do have several coaches on the platform who have also undergone the same journey. And many of these coaches, you would find a coach that is very similar to you in terms of career trajectory and so on. This is part of what we do at the eMigr8 platform. So as I said as an introduction, this session is part 2 of a session that I started about a month ago. And so forgive me for those of us who are in category 1. I see a few of us in the call. You may need to go back to that session because for this one, we will not be talking at the beginner level to say this is about the Tech Nation visa. I'll just give a quick introduction on that. Our focus today is for category 2, category 3, and then I'll give some tips for category 4 as well for today's session. So do forgive us if you're in category 1. This session, you can go to the last session, it will help, and then you can come back to this session because it will make more sense at that point. The Tech Nation visa is the UK Global Talent Visa for the field of digital technology. in the field of digital technology in the UK, generally, there are several global talent visa opportunities. There are several of them for different categories. So there is one for research, there's one for fashion, and there is one for digital technology. Now, the reason why it is called Technician Visa is because the only endorsing body today for that visa opportunity is Tech Nation. That's the only endorsing body today for the category of digital technology. And that's the reason why it is called Technician Visa. If you're preparing your application, some of the things we said during the last session that I referred to is the fact that please study the Technician Visa guide. Study it, read it twice. First time, read it like a storybook. Second time, read it with a pen and paper, noting down some of the things that you have that do qualify for the visa at the moment. And that helps you to do a self-appraisal. Take a look at the categories because you need to qualify under, there are 5 criteria. You need to qualify under 3 of the 5 criteria. The first one is mandatory, so you must qualify under that one, which is that you need to show that you are a leading talent in the field of digital technology. But then there are 4 other categories. You only need to qualify under 2 of those optional categories. So the optional ones are you need to show that you have innovation, you a proof of innovation, you need to show proof of recognition, you need to show proof of significant impact or contribution to something that you've done, and then finally you need to show academic excellence. Out of those 4, you need to show 2 of the 4. But that's not my focus today. As I said, my focus today are some things that you should know at this point in 2024, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. The first one I would say clearly is that change is coming. Change is coming. Now, this is more of a fact in terms of change is coming. Sorry, I'm sharing the wrong screen. I will stop that and then share my browser instead. This is more of a fact than anything else. Now, the reason why we know that is because at the moment, the UK government, specifically the Home Office, has actually put out a bid that is going on at the moment. And that bid is for a new endorsing body for the Global Talent Visa. So that's the bid that has been brought out, and that was published in February of 2024. Now, what that means is that they are going through a process of determining whether or not they will retain Tech Nation as the endorsing body, or they will replace Tech Nation with a new endorsing body. Now, I would assume that Tech Nation will be one of the organizations bidding for these new renewed contracts. This is an assumption, but we would assume they would be one of them. Now, there is no guarantee that Tech Nation will win the contract. There's no guarantee. That's assuming they do bid. There's no guarantee that they will win the contract. And all of this is in public domain. Everything I will be talking about and everything I will be showing is in public domain, right? And I will try and let you know the ones where it is our assumption and the ones that are facts, right? The fact is this: the Home Office has brought out a bid at the moment for a new endorsing body. Now, for some of us, a year ago, thereabouts today, there was this old news about Tech Nation is shutting down. A lot of people put in very bad application just because they thought that Tech Nation was going to shut down dramatically within a certain period of time. We are not asking you to do that this time around, and we are not saying that change will happen overnight. In fact, we know for a fact that change will not happen until 2025. So you have at least 1 year. But what we need you to bear in mind is that this change is coming. Now, what could happen, and this is now an assumption, what could happen is that if the endorsing body changes from Tech Nation, the criteria will likely also change. Ultimately, they still want the best of the best. Ultimately, they still want the leading talents in the field of digital technology. But the way they determine those leading talents in the field of technology may change. Now, the reason why we're talking about this, first of all, is that we ask you to please make A while the sun shines. If you're already qualified and you feel like you're working on your application at this point, apply as soon as possible if you're already qualified. If you are not already qualified, and don't forget that during the last session, we explained to you that even if you're an absolute beginner, you've never done anything in the field of technology before, you could qualify for the Tech Nation visa within a 1 to 2 year period. Within 1 to 2 years, you could qualify for the UK Tech Nation visa, particularly only really the exceptional promise category. That is factoring some of the things you've done in the past and then adding the things you will have done as well to show yourself as globally attractive in the field of technology. Now, what we're saying is that because there's a likely change that may happen May 2025, you want to start quickly if you are in that category. Of course, if you're already qualified, then one of the questions would be, what are you waiting for? Work on your application and apply as soon as you can. The criteria itself has never been stable. The criteria itself has had many adjustments over the years. Last year has been the one that had the least number of changes, I believe so, in terms of the key changes that happened. And part of that was because Tech Nation itself was bought over by a company called Founders Factory. They've kept the visa the same. The Home Office has not made changes as well to a large extent. However, that will not always be the case. And that's one of the first few information that we wanted to pass across today during this session. The second one was just to talk about the Tech Nation visa itself, has put together a report. And that report is interesting and shows a couple of trends. And some of those trends are what I would like to show. And so this is also in public domain. And this is just information that has been made available. In total, you have about 5,000, a little over 5,000 global talents that has been endorsed over a 10-year period. About 600 to 700 of those are from my home country, Nigeria, right? And those are the numbers. In terms of the numbers as well, we have about 1 in 4 being founders. And so it is not true to say if I'm not a founder of a tech-enabled digital technology, I will not qualify for the Tech Nation visa. That has never been true, but this statistics helps you to see that clearly. You don't absolutely have to be a founder for you to qualify in this particular visa opportunity. It helps. If I'm being honest, it does help because it's easier for you to show as a founder to say the growth of this organization, the growth of this innovation, the traction that this innovation has is because of my skill and my ability and my presence in that organization. And this is part of what you must show if you are applying for this particular visa. When you put together your application, don't put together your application to say we did XYZ, we were able to become the best in the world and all of that. That we has a question mark automatically. The question mark is that what part of it did you do and what part of it did other people that were part of your team do? You need to be able to single out your own work in this application that you are putting together. A lot of times people don't like blowing their own trumpet. But in this case, in this particular visa, you need to show that, if I was not in this organization, this particular growth would not have happened. And those are the kinds of things that you need to be able to show and say. But you can't just say it without having proof. You need to also show documentary evidence of those things that you are saying. to say that, oh, I was able to help this startup, this product-led digital technology, I was able to help it gain this level of traction. But you must show documentary evidence of what you are talking about. It has also never been true that you could only qualify for this visa if you were a software developer. This is something that people have said in the past as well, to say you needed to show that you are a software engineer. Yes, 1 out of 3 people that have qualified for this visa opportunity have been software engineers. But there are several other people that have qualified that were not software engineers. They've qualified under different skills, all of them in the field of digital technology. Some of these skills are technical skills, like software engineering, like DevOps. But then some of these skills are business skills, like product management, project management, digital marketing, called performance marketing as well, and several other business skills. So every time we are saying tech, we are just saying technology. We are not saying the technical side of technology. So this is important, because there's the business side of tech and there's the technical side of tech. You don't have to absolutely qualify on the technical side of tech. If you are stronger in the business side of tech, and that's what you are, and that's how you've actually achieved your status as being globally attractive, then that's what you should project to the world. And that's what you should project to your assessor when you submit your Tech Nation visa application. In terms of education as well, it is not true that you need to have completed a bachelor's degree. Yes, 95% have, but it's not a criteria to say you must have a bachelor's degree for you to apply, nor for you to be endorsed for this visa itself. If you take a look at the report, there's a lot more in that report. I wouldn't have the time to go through the entire report and all, because there are a number of other things I would like to cover during this session. But there's a lot of information in that report. Part of it is the fact that Nigeria and Ghana have one of the highest rejection rates, in addition to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. They have one of the highest in terms of rejection rate for the visa opportunity. One of the highest acceptance rate at the moment is Singapore, with 78 or 75% acceptance rate. There's a lot of information there. The report is in public domain. Please do take a look at the report. It would be helpful in terms of you planning your journey and in terms of you planning your application as well. Next thing I'll talk about is just about meeting the criteria. During the last session, we talked about the fact that, yes, there are 3 criteria that you need to meet out of the 5. I've said that already during this call. Please make sure that you don't overload your application such that, you are showing that you meet leading talent a lot. Maybe you have like 6 documents in leading talent, and then for innovation or criteria 2, criteria 3, you don't have enough evidence in there. The general rule of thumb is that for every criteria that you are meeting, make sure you have 3 documents. So for those that may not understand what I'm talking about, the guide says that you need to submit 10 documentary evidence of not more than 3 pages each. So the maximum number of documentary evidence you can submit is 10. You can submit 1. You can even submit 0 nowadays, because if you've won some specific awards, you don't even need to go through an endorsement body. You can go straight to the Home Office to say, because I've won this specific award, I qualify for your visa, and you can award me that visa. Not many of them that win those awards actually want to move to the UK. That's a different conversation. But then for you, assuming you haven't won any of those awards that are recognized by the UK Home Office, you need to submit up to 10 documentary evidence. Now, what we are saying is that don't pick each category, submit 3 documentary evidence. Each one are 3 pages each. Then your last, and if you calculate that, that is 9 in total. The last one, you can look at maybe the one you are weakest in, or maybe the one where you have a lot more evidence and so on. And then you can add the last document in that category. So that would be maybe 433 or 343 or 334 and something along those lines. What we're asking you to do is avoid the situation where leading talent, you submit 7 documents, and then when you come to innovation, you've submitted only 1 document. Then when you come to recognition, you've submitted just 1 document. It doesn't really help, and it doesn't really work in terms of some of the rejections that we've seen. Try and make sure you are able to show a balanced track record. Don't forget that it is a track record that they want to see as well. They want to see your track record over the last couple of years, not more than 5 years. 1 indicator is not a track record. In fact, 2 indicators, not necessarily a track record. But yeah, it starts telling me a trend. You want to start showing multiple indicators, and that helps you show that track record. Something else is, excuse me for a moment. Apologies for that. Something else that you should be aware of is that for each one of these criteria, TechNation themselves, they've given you quite a number of information of things that you can use for you to show that you meet the criteria. Do not ignore this guide. And this is the first place you want to start from. Whether you are doing the application by yourself or you even have somebody helping or coaching you. eMigr8 offers a coaching service to help, right? But we would insist that you read this guide. That's the first place to start. Don't start with, oh, somebody is helping me and then I don't even know what they are talking about at all. Start with the TechNation Visa Guide. Go through this entire guide, and what you want to make sure you've done is that you've taken a pen and paper and you understand what are the things they're asking for. Sometimes there are things that you may have discounted that may qualify. And there are things that you may be trying to put that does not necessarily qualify. And those are the things that you want to just be careful of, and you want to make sure that you work on when you are submitting your application. The next one is that ensure that you are putting your very best foot forward. And the link I'm using to show this is one of them. So what I was showing a moment ago is the Discourse channel. And this is one of the platforms that we advise you to subscribe to and take a look at it. There's a lot of information on that channel, and this is managed by Visa alumni who are also trying to help. I'm one of those, and there are several others as well who are trying to help. And so if you post a question on that channel, you get a lot of answer. But it gets better because you can see the question other people have asked, and you can see some of the answers that people have given to those questions. That's the Discourse channel. Put your best foot forward, however, is important. Because what you don't want to do is that you qualify for this visa, but then you put together a shoddy application. There's a lot that you may have done if you qualify. There's a lot that you will have done over the last 2 years, over the last 1 year, over the last 5 years in the field of technology. You want to be able to show that track record. You want to be able to show that if you're a UX designer, for example, if I put 10 UX designers and line them up, you will be the top 1 or top 2, maximum top 3 on that list of 10 UX designers. You cannot say that, oh, because I'm a UX designer, I qualify. That means that everybody in the world qualifies. That's not the case. What it is that you need to be able to show how you are at the top of your game. It could be about awards. It could be about your mentoring. It could be about the places you've spoken. And there are several ways you can show that, both within your day-to-day employment and outside your day-to-day employment. But ensure you are telling a story. And that story needs to ultimately say I am globally attractive. That story ultimately needs to say, if you line up 10 software developers, I will be top 2 of them. And that's why I said at the beginning of my session to say that it's important that when you are saying we in your application and in your documentation, ensure that you are breaking it down to say, this is the part that I did. These are the pull requests that I worked on. These are the features that I was 100% responsible for. Of course, we do know already that if you're talking about something like consulting, avoid consulting. But it also doesn't mean that if you have a consulting background, then hide that totally. The industry is very fluid. The key thing is that you need to show that you have that experience building tech-enabled tech-enabled digital technology, product-led digital technology, product-led digital technology. You need to show that. But even if you have some consulting in your background, you don't have to remove it, because if you have a gap in your CV, that's also a problem by itself. The next one is around the recommendation letter that I'm going to talk about, and I'm rounding up now. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat, and then we'll get to as many questions as possible. Recommendation letter, and we have a blog post on this on our website that you can take a look at. And this is a link that you can share to your recommenders. It is your recommenders that are supposed to write your recommendation letters. Your recommenders should. But the thing is that your recommenders may need some guideline in terms of, how do I write this recommendation letter? Because the guideline says that letter must be addressed to technicians. So it can't just be a random letter that they wrote before for you for something else. It has to be to technician, and it has to tick a number of boxes. What is important, and one of the things you can do for your recommenders, is that you can send them this link, because it will help. But some of the things we've said in the past is that if you look at all the things that they're asking you to answer, that's the recommender, that is, if they can write a paragraph on each one of these things that they are talking about, it would help, because all of a sudden you now have multiple paragraphs, about 8 or 9 paragraphs already. What is important though is that they need to be specific on why they think that you are globally attractive. They need to be specific on why they think that you qualify for this visa opportunity. They can't just say vague things like, this person was very good and all of that. They need to give specific examples. Now, those specific examples that your recommenders are talking about, ensure that when you are submitting documentary evidence, some of those specific examples are also covered in your documentary evidence. This is part of the reason why sometimes we ask people to say, put together the evidence you've got first before you start writing your personal statement. Put together the document that you've got first before you start writing the recommendation letters, before you start talking to your recommenders and so on in the field. This is part of why we say that. But then we do have a blog post that would be really useful. Your recommenders need to sign the letters. Your recommenders need to be able to sign those letters. One of the mistakes that we've seen people make is that because your recommenders do not have DocuSign and so on, then you generate the letter for them to sign. That calls into question whether or not the recommender actually wrote the letter in the first place. It's important that even if you give them points for them to write, to say, these are some points that I would like you to surface in what you are saying about me, it's important that the recommender owns the letter. Say it in their own words. Ensure that they are talking from their own perspective. What you don't want is a situation where what happens is that your recommenders are all saying exactly the same thing in exactly the same words. That calls into questions to say, does this recommender even mean what they are talking about in the first place? It's important, and you can read a lot more about that. And so that's why when people come to us on the eMigr8 platform to say, oh, can you give me a template and all of that, we say no, we don't give templates. We give guidelines, not templates, right? Because what people do consciously or unconsciously is that they say, oh, this template is the gospel truth, this is what I'm going to use. That's not necessarily the case. And then, of course, if you've been endorsed, I will just say a few words here and then I'll be handing over back to Moody. If you've been endorsed, congratulations. There are some resources for you if you've been endorsed for the technician visa as well that we believe would be useful to you. And so I'm just going to talk about that very quickly and then we'll hand over to Moody and for question and answers. So we've talked about new endorsing body may be coming. It's not coming until 31st April 2025. We've talked about some key findings. And then now I will just talk about some free resources that are available to you. I've talked about the technician visa guide already. And I've said that start from the visa guide. Read it twice. I've talked about the discourse channel. And that's where I was showing some of the points that I made during this conversation today. Technician themselves, they also run events. And those events have been very useful. You may want to take a look at that. And on the eMigr8 platform, we also run visa office hours, which is dedicated towards the UK technician visa. Now, if you've gotten your endorsement, there are a number of resources that are available to you as well. Number one is there's a technician visa alumni community. It's a very vibrant community on Slack, which we encourage you to join. If you need the signpost to how to join that, we can share that with you. eMigr8 has been part of a team that's put together something called Welcome Party, which is a guide to moving to the UK. We believe that it would be really useful for you, particularly if you are working on your relocation plan. The Welcome Party document would be really useful to you. We do have coaches that have gone through that journey before as well in terms of the relocation, and so they can also help in terms of accommodation, apartment, opening bank accounts, all of those kind of things. They can advise there. And we do have an in-country community that is available to you as well for the UK if you've been endorsed for that visa opportunity. And so in summary, there's a lot for you to do in terms of when you put together your application, but it is not an impossible task. What you need to do is take it step by step. There's a lot of information available. eMigr8, for example, we've done several open days, and many of them we've spoken with and shared a lot of information about some of our successes, our direct successes on the platform. And we've also brought in coaches who've also shared a lot of information about some of the things that they've done and how they applied, what kinds of documents they used, who were their recommenders, what relationships that they pulled for them to be able to get recommendation letters, and all of those kind of things. Every one of these things are useful. So if you're a digital marketer, a software developer, a product owner, or whatever career path you are, we have over 40 successes on the eMigr8 platform, right? So you would likely be able to find somebody who is in your career line that we can signpost you to say, hey, go check what this person said, or go check what this person said. Some of them are publicly available, some of them are not, by the nature of the people that we're speaking. And we can help with that, with sharing some of those resources with you as well. We've got a number of free resources available, including free coaching sessions. And so what we're saying is, if you're putting together your application, don't leave what you can do today till tomorrow, and then we are here to support you. Back to you, Moody.
All right. Thank you, Bade, for that is speaking to you want to get a job. Are you planning to? I need more context. Are you planning to relocate, or are you looking for a remote job? Are you looking for jobs in the UK? Do you have a specific country in mind, so that we can speak to that specifically, rather than just giving you a general outlook, right? So if you can give us details as to what you're looking for, we can be able to speak to that.
Just to give the general outlook is that we have an open day that we've focused on landing a tech job in the UK tech ecosystem. That open day is 1.5 hours full of information that we believe would be extremely useful for you. So that's a good place to start in terms of general signposting. But if you give more specific information, we'll be able to answer you more specifically.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question. How can one address a situation where payment history with a company is often offline, or is salary history not important in the application? Okay, but do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so salary history is not the only criteria. So one of the criteria you can show is that you earn a high salary in your field of digital technology, right? And when they say high salary, that's comparable to everybody else that is in your profession. So don't say that software developers earn a lot of money and so I'm earning a lot of money. You need to show that you are earning higher salary than the average software developer. But that's only one out of about over 100 criteria and indicators that you could use for showing that you qualify. So if you are not able to show that, what about the other 99 that you can show? That's what I would just say. So salary, yes, is one of the indicators, but not the only indicator. There are over 100 others that you could use.
All right, fantastic. So if salary is not one of the criteria, high salary is one of the criteria, but there are other criteria that you can also use to show exceptional talent. Thank you. Hi, I got an endorsement for Global Talent January 17th. This is a testimonial, I believe. Submitted my visa application January 17th and done the biometrics within the UK, switching from post-study visa. Based on recent UK visa update from British government, how long is it taking to get my visa approval, new BRP? Although confirmation email sent after the biometric says it takes 8 weeks to get feedback, I am worried. I don't understand why you're worried.
I don't think you should be worried for that community member that sent that. First of all, congratulations on your endorsement. Really exciting. If you reach out to one of the community managers, we do have some resources, as I mentioned, during the conversation for you. So congratulations. Don't be worried. The chances of you being rejected in terms of the visa is less than 0.01% or thereabout. Most people that get endorsed will get the visa more or less automatically, so don't be worried. Yes, there's a backlog of some sort because there's a lot going on with the UK immigration at the moment. Oh, please, by the way, this is not immigration nor legal advice. This is just us sharing our experience. There's a backlog, so it may take up to that 2 months, but you are fine because you have made a valid visa application. So even if your post-study visa is expiring, you still have a legal right to stay in the UK because you have a visa application that you have made that is still being processed. So you shouldn't be worried about that. Also, in terms of if you didn't also get the opportunity for a fast track, sometimes they don't give you the option at all. So you could have paid for like a 24-hour or a 48 hours, but sometimes that option doesn't even appear to you at all. It means that you would have to wait that up to 2 months for you to get your new BLP. But we are fine because you already have an endorsement, and except you've committed a crime, and not just any kind of crime, a really serious crime, you shouldn't be worried because you would get your visa eventually. Congratulations once again.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. Don't be worried. You are in the right path. Congrats. We have another question here. I'm presently in the UK with 4 months into my new role as a product developer and 7 months experience as a business analyst also in the UK. I have 5 years experience as a project manager in Nigeria before moving to the UK. I would like to know when it's best to apply. Wow.
So yeah, so I'm going to answer this, and we
Okay.
you can also book a coaching session if you want to. So I'll answer generally and then I'll come specifically to you. If you have more than 5 years of experience in the field of digital technology, you will automatically be considered only under exceptional talent category. And so, for those that are not aware, there are two categories: exceptional promise and exceptional talent. Exceptional promise says you are a promising person that would eventually become a leading talent in the field of technology. Exceptional talent says you're already a leading talent in the field of digital technology. Now, because you just missed the exceptional promise one, sometimes assessors ignore it. If you have maybe like 5.5 years of experience, that's 5 years, 5 months, that kind of thing, sometimes they ignore it. Also, if part of your experience is like an internship and all of that, that doesn't count most of the time. Now, I didn't say all of the time, most of the time, because all of this is also subjective to the assessor. And so it may be best for you to be popping together an application immediately. But then, if you do not feel like you qualify and you've done a self assessment, or you've gone through one of our coaches and they've worked with you with a roadmap and an assessment, you may also say, oh, fine, I need to spend the next maybe 1 year building my profile before I apply, right? Or I want to spend the next 6 months in addition to what I already have before I apply. The key thing is that just know that based on the number of years you just said, you are now basically going to be considered under exceptional talent, which means that the bar is slightly higher for you. Interesting profile, interesting career trajectory in terms of what you put there, that I can see immediately. That's really interesting. And then the question is, aside from your day-to-day employment, what have you done outside your day-to-day employment? All of those things helps your story and the profile that you're submitting towards qualification. Wishing you the very best.
Yeah, thank you very much. But my short answer is apply now. So I'll take all the advice that Bade has given. Right. So fantastic. All right. Thank you also. Okay. Back to I'm interested in getting an international job. What do I need to do? I'm currently a senior front end developer with a technology company with 4 years plus experience. I'm looking to landing a remote role, a remote tech job, so that I can save for my planned relocation. All right, we have the tech career platform where we can advise on that, but I don't know if anybody wants to speak more on this for someone looking for international role, remote role, tech role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so one of the services we can help with is our tech career coaching service. This is only available for the UK at the moment. We have a number of successes that have been able to land their next role faster using our tech career coaching service. You is one of the links that Moody shared earlier, and that's something that you may want to apply for. And we do have some free career coaching sessions, and then there are paid coaching sessions as well as you need. It helps with things like introduction to technical recruiters. It helps with ensuring that you have the right CV, the right profile, the right visibility, the right experience, and so on. And so that's something that you may be interested in pursuing.
Yeah. All right. Video a session we did sometime last year on that focus on landing a tech role in the UK. You want to check that out on YouTube, right? Very very good conversation we had on that open day, right? And the eMigr8 tech coaching, tech career coaching platform will also help you streamline your search to the UK and other opportunities that we can connect you with. All right. I have over 4 years experience as a software support specialist and 2 years as a software engineer. Okay. I have a product currently with a client at the moment. I'm currently in the UK what are your thoughts about giving this a shot? All right. But you want to speak to
So
this?
I think you need to give it a shot, and you sort of short sold yourself, because what I heard you say is that you have a product that real life customers are currently using. It would be interesting to know more about that product. Is it considered innovative in any circle? Right? And that may be something we want, that may be something you want to talk about in terms of the product that you just mentioned. You've got customers using it. Is it just one, or are we looking at, is it a B2B2C product, for example, and then you want to show the kinds of traction that you have? Remember that aside from showing you're a leading talent, you need to show two out of four other criteria. So innovation is what I've asked. Or do you have some sort of recognition as your product won award, or you yourself have you won awards and things like that? Then maybe that could help. Or do you have significant impact or contribution, meaning that your product itself has a lot of traction, and because you own the product, you build the product and all of that, and that traction attributes to your profile, that could help. Or if you're in the academics line, then we're talking about research and so on that you may have done. Have you applied for patents? There's several things that we would need to know in terms of you giving it a shot. What we are advised is something I said during my presentation. Take a look at the Technician Visa Guide. Take a pen and paper. List out some of the things that you tick in terms of whether or not you tick some of those boxes. And based on that, you can do a self-appraisal. Or if you want eMigr8 coaches to help with that, we can also help with with an appraisal of your profile in terms of what's the best foot forward. Let me sell eMigr8 service for a moment. So I've answered the question. Now I'm about to sell. So this is advertisement right now. One of the things that we do is the road mapping session. Now, with the road mapping session, it's one of our coaching sessions. You come out with one of two things. If you feel like you already qualify for the visa, you will come out with a roadmap to say these are all the documents you should put together for you to apply. But even if you do not qualify, or if you feel like you are not yet qualified, you would get a roadmap still. And that roadmap will be, in addition to what you already have, these are the things you should do in the next maybe 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, maximum 2 years, depending on where you are in the hierarchy and all that. These are the things that you can do and you should be doing in the next few months for you to then be able to farm up your profile for you to qualify. So that's the one of the coaching session that eMigr8 does as a premium service, and it's called the road mapping session. So that's the advert part, end of advert, and the rest are giving advice earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, buddy. That was very important, actually. It's not just the advert, because I just, the same question, I think we spoke to this, but I wanted to also connect that. I'm looking to land a remote international tech job so that I can save for my planned relocation. While you are saving for your planned relocation, you want to speak to a coach. We can have a roadmap, a self-directed roadmap that you can work with, and that can keep you in track also. So just also speaking to what Bade just said, you also want to take advantage of that. If you can book a session with any of the coach, and we can review where are you currently today, right? Because I think the reason why you're looking at international job is because you think you need to save money, but we need to know where are you currently and what can we do to fast track your process. All right, the next question. Thank you guys for asking this question. It helps to unpack the topic of discussion for the day. Can I submit my endorsement application document for review when I'm done putting them together? So my understanding is that you want to submit it to eMigr8 for review, because once you submit it on the portal, it is the application has gone through, right? But if the question is you want to submit it to, you need somebody to help you review it before you submit it, yes, you can. And we have services that you can take advantage of.
That covers that.
Buddy might want to speak on that also.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do is you get a one-to-one coaching session at no cost to you, free of charge, at no cost to you. And so you can actually say you're booking a one-to-one coaching session. It's usually 10 minutes, maximum 15 minutes, but 10 minutes, where you can share your screen and you can get feedback from a coach at no cost to you. We do have premium sessions that are much longer, which you could also book. That's a paid session, where you will be able to also do the same thing with a much longer period and so on. So that's a good place for you to start in terms of that. And then I believe if you wait till the end of this session, there's a gift for you which is related to this as well. And Moody will talk about that towards the end of the session.
All right. Fantastic. So we have links to the community on the chat. So just in case you're wondering how do I become part of the community, please join using any of the links there. I advise you join using the Telegram link, and we can continue the conversation. There is a gift for everyone at the end, but one of the ways to redeem the gift is you redeem it within the community. So that is also a good reason why you should join the community. All right. The next question: business school in South Africa to mentor their students on cybersecurity, but it is starting in March 2024. I believe you want to write. Can I include this as one of the evidence now, even though I haven't started the mentorship session yet?
The short answer is yes, you can, because what you are showing is a track record. The fact that they invited you, they didn't invite you in March 2024. They invited you maybe December or January or whenever they invited you for you to start in March 2024. They must have assessed you somehow for them to decide that, oh, you are qualified for you to be a subject matter expert in that cybersecurity. However, I hope that that's not the only document you are submitting. You need to submit multiple types of documents along those lines, all of them pointing to the fact that you are globally attractive. So yes, the short answer is yes, you can submit this as part of your track record.
All right. And congratulations, by the way. That's impressive. So yeah, you can submit it. It tells that there's a bit of profiling that has gone in to be able to award you such opportunities. So yeah. All right. Developer, I believe. How do I begin and how long will it take? All right, so the Canada Tech Visa, but you want to speak to that?
So that's a loaded question, right? Because we don't know is the answer. We don't know how long it will take because no two people are the same. And of course, the profile you've given us is interesting, but not enough information. I can speak generally, however, to say during eMigr8 Open Days, we've spoken about two key routes for Canada that you may want to go take a look at those Open Day replay recordings. The first one is for the Canada Startup Visa. With the Canada Startup Visa, you can move with up to 5 co-founders. However, you need to be moving with a startup that is already established in your home economy. And so the reason why the visa exists is that you are saying that now that our startup has been doing well in our home economy, we are now ready to take it to the world and we want to move it to Canada as a springboard for us to conquer the world. That's why the visa exists. Now with the Canada Startup Visa, you get a temporary visa initially, but it's a direct pathway to permanent residency. So within a year of you moving or 2 years, so you start with a work permit and eventually you get your permanent residency in Canada. We have a full open day, 1.5 hours focused on this. Go watch it. A lot of information. Second one was around provincial nomination program. There are different provinces in Canada that have some nomination program for specific skill sets. What you want to do is go check some of those provinces and then who are they nominating? There are some age barriers and some things like that you should check. But we do have an open day where we've broken this down as well end to end. We had a coach talk to us about it and talk to the community about some of the things to watch out for and so on. That open day would also be useful for you to go look at and then get as much information as possible. And of course, there's a lot of information in public domain as well.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Bade. And one of the things I also wanted to point out is you can also join the eMigr8 community and speak with a coach so that we understand the uniqueness of your circumstance. Right, we need to know before we can correctly diagnose, and I use that word loosely, how long it will take you and what kind of roadmap you can work with regards to landing the Canadian tech visa. But thank you for answering that question, and I believe Bade's response has given you a broad idea of what you should be looking at, the options that you should be looking at. So thank you very much. If you have more questions, please pop it in the chat and also join the community. We can continue that conversation from there and hopefully get you to your dream destination. All right, the next question. Within the last 4 years, I have worked remotely for a South African company, I believe, USA, and now I've worked remotely in South Africa, USA, and now a Canadian company. Did I get that correctly? Within the last 4 years, I have worked remotely for a South African, USA, and now Canadian company. However, I'm currently earning between 3 to 4K US dollar monthly. Does a low salary affect? If yes, what is the minimum monthly salary one should have? Again, I think people are focusing on the salary as a mandatory criteria. It is an optional criteria, and there are other criteria that you can explore. But I'll allow Bade, take it.
Yeah. So I answered this similar question a moment ago to say there are several criteria and several indicators within those criteria that they are looking at. Salary is one of them, but it's not the only indicator. The reason why I smiled is because some people will see the 4K salary not as low salary because it's also relative to the economy in which you're working from. Not necessarily the company that you are working for, right? So don't also discount yourself, because if your home economy, if that salary is high in your home economy, that may actually even count. But please don't focus on the salary. There are several indicators that you can work with aside from the salary, as I answered earlier.
All right. Thank you. Poppy salary is not low salary, by the way. I just wanted to put that out there. All right. So if you have more questions, we are running against time, and so it's a good time to drop those questions so that we can take them quickly. Good evening. I'm new to tech. Do I stand a chance to apply now, or I have to wait till I have much experience? All right. So the way I answer this question is: do you think if you put your best foot forward today, you will be top 10 in what any field that you are in? Say you're new to tech, we don't know what field of tech you're in, because most of these visa routes are looking at guys with exceptional experiences, right? And I use that word exceptional loosely, but they're looking for guys that have track record, have built a bit, have history, right? At eMigr8, we have a community where you can grow in, and we can come in and do what we call a set roadmap for you that you can work with and get yourself to a position where you can put your best foot forward. If you are new to tech, I don't think now is necessarily the best time to put your best foot forward, because you are still building experience and you're still growing within tech, right? So I hope that helps.
Let me just add to that answer, right? And I will talk generally, and then I would also then advertise an eMigr8 package as well. So the general answer is that there are not many opportunities available for you as a beginner. Because you are new to tech, you are automatically a beginner. There are not many opportunities available for you. There are a few, but not many of them are available. So you may want to check some of those beginner-friendly opportunities, like the Innovator Founder Visa UK is actually beginner-friendly. that may be something you can work with immediately. But however, not many opportunities are available. If what you should be doing is that you want to get to the intermediate level in your field as quickly as possible, and or get to the advanced level as quickly as possible. At those two levels, several opportunities open up to you. What I would just advise though is that don't just focus on learning skills. There are three key pillars that we would ask you to focus on at the same time. Learn skills, gain experience, and then gain exposure. So we actually have a tech talent development program that is built on top of those three key pillars. Don't just build your skills and then you don't have the right experience. Don't just build the right experience and then you don't have the right exposure. Make sure all three works together for you at the same time. And there's a whole method to that, what I've just explained. The other thing I would just mention is that we do have a package for you if you are a beginner in the field of technology and you're looking to relocate to the UK within a 3 months to 6 months. Minimum timeline is 3 to 6 months, which is the settle in the UK as a tech talent. It's a beginner friendly package, and the way that package works is the fact that we would handhold you through all of the processes needed to get you to the intermediate level in the field of technology very quickly. So you are going to have an accelerated growth in the field of technology, leveraging on some of the things you've done in the past, but then leveraging on some of the future that you are looking at as well, specifically for you. You do need an investment budget of between £10,000 to £75,000 for that specific package, but it is beginner friendly. So, two things I've said: work on building yourself to intermediate level. Many opportunities open up to you immediately. And then if you are looking for a specific package at a beginner level, eMigr8 does have a package that can help.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, fantastic. So I think the last question we have here, someone is asking, what are the other criteria aside from salary? And generally speaking, if you are interested in technician visa, you should spend a lot of time reading through the technician.io. I want to ask these last questions where we speak to the beginners and the intermediate and the experts in the room with regards, for this session, we'll be speaking with regards to technician. Again, if you are, while allow Bade gather his thoughts on that question, if you are still on the chat, please join the group to redeem your the free gift that we've given. You have to join any of our communities. Telegram and Facebook is what I would recommend. The WhatsApp community, the WhatsApp community is a closed network. We want to be able to add you to that group in time. So you want to join the Telegram and the WhatsApp and the Facebook community or the LinkedIn community. Can I use my 10-minute session as a roadmap session? Yes, you can. But do realize that it is 10 minutes and roadmap session can be longer than 10 minutes. But so you want to start that session, or you want to have your plans laid out before coming for that session, so that you give the coach an opportunity to point you in the right direction. But yes, you can. And obviously, you probably would also need more time after that 10-minute session, so we can continue the conversation again in the chat, in the community. All right, buddy. So we have, like we've seen in the question session, right? We have beginners, all right, on this call. We have intermediate people on this call. We also have experts on this call. We have somebody who has a product already running. We have people that have over 4 years experience in various fields on this call, from the questions that we've gotten. So I wanted to speak to those three category of people with regards to technician. When should they be applying? Should they be applying at all? And looking at also the 2025, could I say, change that's coming on soon. So Could you please speak to those category of people?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Modi. So for beginner level, what I would generally say is start now. Start, make it while the sun shines. We do know that some changes will be coming in about 1 year and 3 months from now, and so now is the best time to start. Now, don't be afraid though, because the changes that come, generally speaking, the concept is still going to be the same. What will change is may change is the criteria, and we are not even certain the criteria itself will change. What may change out is what will not change is the fact that forward-thinking countries of the world are looking for people who can show themselves as globally attractive. If you can show yourself as globally attractive, you will have options. There will be new visa opportunities from different countries of the world that will follow this same trajectory. Some are being prepared, some we are privy to, because some of these things, the policies, when it's a national policy, a lot of times it takes time to be made, and then they usually will show drafts and so on. So it's not yet confirmed, but some of those drafts are clear. What I'm saying is that what you should be doing as a beginner is to work towards being the best possible version of yourself. Show yourself as globally attractive. You will have options. And of course, if you're looking as a beginner, if you're looking at moving very quickly, we do have an accelerated package that helps you to become intermediate level very quickly, so that you're able to qualify for a specific visa route. So that's the Settle in the UK as a tech talent package that we're currently talking about. Number 2, intermediate level. If you're at the intermediate level, you possibly already qualify for one route or the other. Possibly. Or you are on the way to qualify. What you want to make sure is that you are doing the right things towards you finally qualifying. And so take a look at what they're asking for. Take a look at the criteria. Do a self-assessment, whether aided or by yourself, to say, oh, where are my weak points? Where are my strengths? Where do I leverage on my strengths? And where are the weak points that I need to spend some time working on? Do that self-assessment. It's important. Don't leave it till later. Don't leave it to a year's time when you say, oh, by now I should qualify. And then they ask you for where is X, and you're like, oh, are they looking for X? I didn't know. Right. We've had people in our network who say, oh, they've gotten several speaking engagement invitation, but they always turned it down. Right. But then if you're aware that, oh, some of these speaking engagement are things that I may be able to use to be able to show that I am globally attractive, maybe you will take another look at it to say, hey, let me put myself out there. Maybe. We're not saying you should do these things because you would qualify for one route or the other. It's just saying that be clear on your own career trajectory. You are the main person responsible for your career and nobody else. So that's intermediate level. And advanced level is that do the things that you need to do now when the door is actually open. Things will change. Things will get more difficult, or they may get easier. We don't generally know. What we know are some principles, and those principles will not change. If you are globally attractive, you would have option. That principle will not change. How you show you are globally attractive may change. Sometimes in your favor, making it easier for you to move to your dream economy. But sometimes against you, which makes it harder for you to move to that same dream economy. So do the things that you need to do now rather than wait till later. Also, don't forget that time is counting. Using the Tech Nation visa, for example, there is a time box to say within the last 5 years. What that means is that the achievements that you made 6 years ago will not be counted, will not be reviewed. The achievements you made 7 years ago, 8 years ago, yes, you can talk about it in your personal statement, in your CV, but they don't want previous champions. They want current champions in their own economy. for them to move to this new economy. And so it's important for you to do the things that you can do now rather than wait till later. I'll speak to two subcategories of those three that I've spoken to. You're in the UK, for example, and then you're not yet on a pathway to settlement. So post-study visa, congratulations to that member of the community that's gotten the endorsement. Congratulations. Bear in mind that the criteria is the same for you, whether you're in the UK or you're in your home economy. The criteria is the same for you. Don't wait till you have 1 month left to leave the UK before you start working towards, oh, how do I qualify? What can I apply for? And all of that. Start now that you have 2 years, or maybe 1 year, or maybe 17 months, or whatever it is. Start your journey now. Don't wait till that time when time is up, and then you don't have enough time to show the track record that you need to show yourself as globally attractive. This is important. And finally, category of if you're currently preparing your application, we genuinely want to help. We are limited by time, and we do offer a freemium service, which means a number of the things we do is for free. Some of the things we do is at a premium. You can start with what is available at no cost to you, right? You've gotten a second 10-minute session now. If you're on this call till this point in time, we do one free session for anyone in the community, but because you've been on this session till now, you've gotten a second session. The only thing we ask is that don't come and waste the coach's time on the session. Do your own research. List out your questions. List out the things that you could not have answered by simply Googling it. And those are the kinds of things we expect you to want to discuss with a coach who can give you a perspective that may be able to help. eMigr8 as a platform does not offer immigration advice. eMigr8 as a platform does not offer legal advice. But the unique selling point for eMigr8 is the fact that we're able to offer experience, hand-holding, coaching, and several opportunities that you may not have known, because these are tech people helping tech people. And ultimately, this would be useful for you. And so we're available to help, whether at a fee or free. It's up to you to be able to say what level of support you do need per time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.